it turns politics into a form of consumerism where it's like Coke or Pepsi, when in the end of the day, you're still drinking sugary, fizzy water. Like, it doesn't really matter. They're not that different, but it's that sort of marketing to them. And we've seen a lot of this in my own lifetime. And one of the things that I've seen dramatically, which I do think is a positive trend, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, is just like how many more ads have people of different races. When I was a kid, most commercials had white people in them. So the fact that commercials have become a lot more diverse, that's a good thing. That's a change in social attitudes. That's a positive. But if that's all we're doing, that's the problem. That's the limiting of it. And I do think that there's a way in which identity politics can fundamentally also become kind of racist, in the sense that if you see a Black man or you see like a Latino woman, you just assume you make assumptions based on their identities rather than like asking them, because people contain multitudes, what they actually think. Yeah. And so when people are like, how in the world would like more black men vote for Donald Trump? Or like, why do more Hispanic people vote for Donald, or white women vote for Donald Trump? Yeah. And it's because they all have different interests.
Yeah. They didn't fit into the box that you put them into.
They didn't fit into the box you put them in. Yeah. And that's the limitation of like an identitarian politics, is that it limits our imagination of what people could be. And I think that's really pernicious. I think it's bad for the country. I think it's bad for the world. Because ultimately it's pretty hollow. Again, it's like a chocolate bunny. You eat through it and you realize the whole thing is hollow.
Yeah. I often think of the Democrats or the Liberal Party. They're superficial, so they say nice things, or they acknowledge differences, or they use land acknowledgements before speeches, but then they refuse to actually address issues of clean water on reservations. It's the superficial acts without actually addressing the material needs, for sure.
It drives me nuts. So I hope this isn't like particularly like un-PC, but like I fucking hate land acknowledgements, not because I don't think that they're important, but because they're completely superficial. It's like, it's like Lockheed Martin does a fucking land acknowledgement. Like, what land are you going to bomb to fucking Kingdom Come next week? Like, it's so, and I find it like, I can't speak for other Native Americans. I wouldn't speak for them. Maybe they'll like it. But my hunch is that there's some of them who find it kind of fucking condescending. Yeah, and patronizing. For sure. Which is where it's like, oh, so you'll acknowledge this was my land, but you won't give it back to me, or you won't actually like change my material position. Yeah. But that's the posing